Welcome to our deep dive on the hidden cost of debt and how financial avoidance quietly ruins everything. In this video, we will explore why avoidance happens, how interest makes it worse, and the practical, mental, and legal strategies you can use to regain control. First, we will set the stage. Then we will walk through a 4-step plan, and finally, we will leave you with an actionable 1-week sprint to get started. Let's begin. Here is the roadmap for today. We will start with a hook and problem framing. Next, we will define debt paralysis and its drivers. Then we will go through 4 steps. Confront the numbers. Seek integrated help. Choose a debt resolution path, and maintain credit stability. Afterwards, we will test your understanding with 2 short quizzes, and we will wrap with a 7-day action sprint, key takeaways, and a brief disclaimer. Let's proceed. Debt crises rarely start with a dramatic event. Instead, they usually begin with a subtle setback like a job loss, a medical bill, or an urgent car repair. When those moments collide with credit cards charging 20 to 30% APR, the situation can snowball rapidly. As stress rises, avoidance feels protective, but it silently makes everything worse. In this video, we will turn avoidance into action, step by step. Debt paralysis describes the freeze response that often follows financial stress. It is not a lack of willpower. Instead, it is a mental health response to sustained financial pressure. People set accounts to auto-pay and stop checking balances or statements because those numbers trigger shame and anxiety. However, this avoidance increases fees and interest, damages credit, and strains relationships. To move forward, we must name this pattern clearly. Now that we have defined the problem, let's move toward the first step of the solution. Step 1 is to quantify the problem. List every debt with the creditor, balance, APR, and minimum payment. Next, calculate your household net income after taxes. Then, categorize monthly expenses into fixed and variable. With these 3 inputs, compute your net cash flow to see whether you are positive or negative. If positive, allocate the surplus to priority debts. If negative, identify specific expense cuts and potential income sources. The outcome of this step is a 1-page baseline that captures your total debt, total income, and monthly expenses. With that baseline, we can make informed choices. Now that the numbers are clear, we can address the human side. Step 2 recognizes that money stress does not exist in a vacuum. Poor communication and untreated shame amplify the crisis. Combine emotional support with financial strategy. Share your baseline with your partner or a trusted accountability buddy, and schedule recurring check-ins. Book sessions with a therapist to address shame and anxiety. At the same time, contact a nonprofit credit counselor to explore consolidation and lower interest rates. By integrating both tracks, you increase the odds that your plan is sustainable. With support in place, we can evaluate the resolution paths. Step 3 provides 3 primary resolution paths. First, negotiate directly with creditors for lower interest rates and a fixed repayment schedule. Be prepared for the card to be frozen. Second, work with accredited nonprofit credit counseling organizations, such as those affiliated with the NFCC, to consolidate payments and secure lower rates without excessive fees. Third, if the debt-to-income ratio is untenable, bankruptcy may be a dignified and legally sanctioned reset. Consult a local attorney since many offer a free initial consultation. Be careful with aggressively marketed debt settlement companies because they often charge high fees and can further damage your credit. Most importantly, do not use protected retirement accounts like 401k or certain IRAs to pay unsecured debt, as they are often protected in bankruptcy. With the options on the table, let's visualize how interest can dominate monthly outflows. This pie chart illustrates a hypothetical monthly outflow where essentials consume the majority, but interest payments still take a substantial portion. The key point is that high APR inflates the interest slice, leaving little for principal reduction or savings. Reducing APR through negotiation or counseling can shift dollars from interest to principal, accelerating progress. With that perspective, let us compare 2 commonly confused services. On the left is nonprofit credit counseling, commonly affiliated with recognized accrediting bodies. These programs consolidate payments, negotiate lower interest rates, and typically charge modest, transparent fees while aiming to preserve your credit. You continue paying your debts. On the right is debt settlement, which is typically for-profit and heavily marketed. These services often ask you to stop paying creditors so they can negotiate lump sum settlements. This approach can damage your credit, trigger collections, and lead to tax consequences on forgiven amounts. If you consider any settlement service, vet it very carefully. Now that the differences are clear, let's provide a quick decision matrix. This table offers a quick guide. If you have high interest rates but stable income, first consider negotiating with creditors or working with a nonprofit counseling program. If you have multiple cards and are falling behind, consolidation through a nonprofit counselor may simplify payments and lower rates. If debt far exceeds income, consult a bankruptcy attorney to explore your legal options. Finally, if you are tempted to use retirement funds, avoid that path to protect your future and instead pursue one of the other strategies. While paying down debt, protect your credit profile. Do not close old accounts, even if they carry a zero balance. Because age of credit history matters. Use small periodic charges and pay them in full to keep accounts active. Monitor your utilization ratio. Credit limit decreases can cause utilization to spike, damaging your score. With best practices in mind, let's test your understanding with a quick quiz. Quiz time. The question is, what is the very first, unavoidable step to begin recovering from debt paralysis? Option A. Cut up all credit cards immediately. Option B. Confront the numbers by listing total debt, income, and monthly expenses. Option C. Close old accounts to improve credit score. Option D. Pay extra on whichever bill arrives first. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B. You must confront the numbers by listing total debt, income, and monthly expenses. Without a clear baseline, it is impossible to design or measure an effective strategy. Now let's move to one more question. Second quiz question. While paying down debt, should you close old credit accounts that have a zero balance? Option A. Yes, to simplify your finances. Option B. No. Keep them open to preserve credit history and reduce utilization risk. Option C. Only if the bank suggests it. Option D. Yes, if they have an annual fee. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B. Keeping old accounts open helps preserve the age of your credit history and protects your utilization ratio. Closing them can shorten your history and increase utilization if credit limits are reduced elsewhere. If a card has a high annual fee and you cannot product change to a no-fee option, assess carefully, but in general keep old no-fee accounts open with small paid-in-full charges. Here is a practical one-week sprint. On day 1, inventory all debts with APRs and minimum payments. On day 2, build your complete income and expense map. On day 3, book a therapist or counselor and schedule a weekly money check-in. On day 4, contact an NFCC-affiliated nonprofit credit counselor. On days 5 and 6, negotiate interest rates and set fixed payment plans, freezing card usage as needed. On day 7, open a separate savings account and fund a small buffer to avoid new debt from minor emergencies. Ongoing, place small charges on old accounts and pay them in full to keep them active. With concrete actions mapped, let us highlight the most important points. These are the essential points. Avoidance is a trauma response that requires attention to both numbers and mindset. Establish a baseline of total debt, income, and expenses. Combine therapy with nonprofit credit counseling. Choose an appropriate resolution path. Negotiate, consolidate, or reset legally. Protect your retirement accounts and avoid using them to pay unsecured debt. Finally, maintain credit stability by keeping old accounts open and controlling utilization. This content is for educational purposes only and is not financial, legal, tax, or mental health advice. Your circumstances are unique. Consult qualified professionals such as NFCC-accredited credit counselors, licensed therapists, and local attorneys for personalized guidance. If you feel overwhelmed or in crisis, contact local resources or hotlines immediately. With expectations set, let us recap. In summary, start by facing the numbers, then address the emotional side with integrated support. Choose a strategy that aligns with your debt-to-income reality. Preserve your credit foundations while paying debt. Execute the 7-day sprint and schedule a monthly review to adjust. Finally, Let's close with a quick thank you and a call to action. Thank you for watching. If this video helped you, please like it, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe for more practical and compassionate finance content. Tell us in the comments which step you will start today and what support you need. See you in the next video.